Okay, it's running. So yesterday we had built that navigation bar, and somehow we, instantiated our web project. Now, one thing that we need to do is that today we'll we'll design some of the homepage, and also we'll try to figure out what we can do more in this thing. Just open that. Okay. Okay, let me bootstrap also, so that we can, you know, take a guide for where we need to include now. Okay, so there it is. Let me just collapse it up, and I'll put this over here somewhere, or maybe here. Okay. Okay, so we had defined the path for the home. So if we click here, or if we click here, we're all set up. Now, the next thing that we must do, or we should do, is that to design this home page. Now, what are the best techniques so that we can, what should be displayed in the home page? What do you think?
Like a grid of the items of the store.
Yeah, that's also right. I mean, the products are being displayed, and sometimes when we open the live store, the products are always displayed, and many of them do show their products. But I want to make it. What I was thinking that we must display, like, we must display some extra design of the store, like how you can go, and how the stuff works for the store, not to display the products directly, but it is a very good, but I like your idea to display the products, the very hot products that are being displayed to the people, that are being sold very much. So that's a very good thing. But first, what we need to do, you're right, we'll display the products. But now the main question arises that how should we display the product? I mean, in general, if we talk about to display the products, what we can do, there's one approach that we can easily, uh, fetch the data from the backend and then display it onto the front end. But now here's the catch. And the catch is that how the products are going to get displayed. I mean, how the system is going to decide that what are the things that should be displayed onto the home. I mean, the hot products that are being sold most of the times, or most viewed products, somehow like that. So the first thing that we should do is that we need to design some template, okay, so that we know this is our template, and now we can render this up easily. Okay, so to display the products, we have this whole area with us. So what should I do? I will first start with Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I will start with this container. And in this container, what I would do, I will display some heading. For instance, I would say, let's pick up this H3. Yeah, and I would say most viewed products. If I try to refresh this one, okay, so this says most viewed products. Okay, I want to, okay, can you tell me please, what class should we use of the Bootstrap to display the color in primary?
To display the color in primary?
Yeah.
I think JS.
From the Bootstrap, it's a very common color, primary color.
I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with Bootstrap, okay, actually.
Well, if you're not sure, then that's a very good thing. What we should do is that we should go in this Bootstrap. I hope you're familiar with how to go to the Bootstrap website, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go there, and I want to say, if I write here color, and if I click here, then see, These are all the colors. And if you want to see how we should apply, well, there's always the guide here. And okay, I guess we should write here text color to be more generic. So text color, yeah, I guess this can be, this is the text. And there you see, these are all the classes, and I'm finding the text color. Okay. Okay, if I click here on the utilities, on the colors, yeah, there you see. So for the text, what we should do, text dash primary, and it would be like this. If you're trying to be secondary, text dash secondary, it would be like this. For the green, we should write text dash success. You know, there are like lots of classes. See? So tell me, what color should we apply here? You tell me.
Text dash primary.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how can we, so how do we apply? I'm just going to write text dash primary. Gonna save this one, reload this one, and boom. See? Easy. Yeah. Now, what we should do now is that we need to display the products. Now, there's a simple scenario in my mind that how our single product is going to get displayed. I mean, we have like multiple products being displayed onto our homepage, but I'm concerned of how we must display our single product template. What do you think?
It's gonna be like a box with
Exactly. Very good, very good. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. It's gonna be like box, and that box must contain information, must contain data about the product, like some, you know, some sample image of the product and some, you know, text of the product being displayed, price of that product, and we can give a button to the user that if he can click onto the product, it will take him to the product page and will show him all the details of the product. You're right. You're absolutely right. So we must do that. So what we should do, there's a way to do in Bootstrap. It's very easy. We call it cards display. And if I click on the cards, you'll see these beautiful boxes being shown to us. And we can do lots of stuff with them. We can also make a card like this. We can also make a card like this, and anytime you can choose. So as per our requirement, what we need is that we can use this card because it has the option of the image and the product title. This can be the product title, some description of the product, and beneath that we can show the price that would be floated onto the right side. And then this button would say view details, and then it would view the details of the product. What say? So can we use this one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Now the thing is that in order to use it, what we should do, I would also add some of the comments here, like so that we'll know that this is the title of the most view products. And also one thing that I need to make sure, view all products. Now in order to do that, what we should do, we are going to have some div, right?
Yeah.
But now one thing that I need to mention here is that when we are making a website, we are also conscious that it should be responsive, right? Because for a mobile, it should be responsive. For the PC view, it should be responsive. And when we think about the responsiveness, we are very much confused in terms of how it's going to be responsive on both the mobile and on the other devices end. So what we must do here is we should add the div and the class Now, for the responsiveness, what we should do now, the first thing that must be, it is a row, right? A row of products that will contain multiple columns, right?
Mm.
So there's this row, and there are like multiple columns in a single row. So this is what we are going to do here. I'm going to write row. So it has defined the row. Now this row is of the full width of this container. Okay, this row
Yeah.
is going to be the full width of this container. Now, when you're going to define the column, so what we are ended up with, let me just, I'm going to write here, just wait a second. It's going to be write the columns. And if I open this on another tab, let me open this on another tab. And as we can see here, they have defined a very good guide for how we can apply columns for that would work for both the mobile end and also on the other desktops end. So this is how we're going to do that. Okay, so this, it says column 4. Now let me tell you this very interesting information, and let me open up my pad so that we can end up with a productive conversation, because this is the very important thing that most of the people, when they work in Bootstrap for the first time, they miss out this very gem of an information that must be conveyed, and they end up starting their own media queries to make the website responsive, and thus they are because it happened to me. I didn't knew these things, so I made a website like a few months ago, and when I made it, I was writing a like whole of media queries for to make it mobile responsiveness. But when I realized that Bootstrap was already giving me these options, I was like, I wasted my lot of time. So let me tell you these things. Now, this is the row for the Bootstrap. Okay.
Okay.
Now, in Bootstrap, when we define a row, every row consists of 12 columns. Okay. So
Okay.
this is of 12 columns. This is like column 1, 2, 3, and up to like 12 columns they have it. So when we define our row, when we inside our row div, when we write another div and we say column 4, it means to cover this row up to 4 columns. So what we are going to end up with? So we are going to end up with a div that has covered 4 columns out of the 12 columns. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So how many columns are left?
There's still 8 columns.
8 columns. Okay. So it means that 8 columns are left. Now we can define like 2 or more divs inside of this. Like for instance, there's not just column 4. There are like multiple column 4, column 3, column 6 as well. And I can show you these. Let me see. If we define, okay, so there's also column 4, there's also column 6, and if we write this column, like if I just write COL, what it means that it's going to take up this whole row. You mean it's going to take up this whole row. And now let me show you in the code so that you can better understand what I'm saying. So for instance, let me just define the class for this, and I would say BG, for instance, dark, and let me, if it makes any difference. Okay, so it doesn't contain any data, for instance. Now, for instance, if I define div, and for the class, I say column, so it means that it's going to take up the whole row. Now, if I enter here, for instance, I want to say, for instance, I write, hello, refresh this. Now check this out. Let me just, see. Now this has taken up the full row, as you can see. Now, if you want to verify this, that because we know that the color of the row that we have defined is dark, right? The color of the row that we have defined is dark, and the color of the column we haven't defined. So let's check this out. I say BG, for instance, primary, if it does, if this class is. So as we can see, it has taken up the full row, right?
Yes.
Now, what if I do here, for instance, let's say I do column 2. I'll try to take it in even moves. Now let's visualize this one. So see, it has taken up the two spaces of the two columns. So, how many columns are left, my brother?
10.
Exactly. You're very good. So, okay, so let's try to do another experiment here. If I write here div class column, for instance, 10, and then let's make it, for instance, background with the danger. And here I say, for instance, world. Now let's see. You're right, absolutely right. So it is the second div with the class of column 10 has taken up the rest of the 10 columns. Okay. Now, what if I give this class, for instance, 4? So tell me, it has taken up the 2. Now I have changed this to 4. So how many columns are going to left?
6.
Exactly. See, the half of is filled, the half of is left. So this is how the
What
bootstrap.
What about the first empty space in the page?
In this right side
In the left side before hello. Is it
beforehand.
included as a 0 or?
Okay, in
I
this
mean,
one.
yeah, I mean the empty space
No,
in the
no.
left of hello.
No. This is the space of this whole div. I've just write hello. See,
No, not this one. I mean in the left.
in the left one here.
Yeah.
Okay, so this
I
is,
mean,
now that's a very good question. So let me tell you that this is the own space of the h1 tag. So h1 tags
mhm.
also takes some of the space. Okay, it has its own margin by default. It has its own padding that is being defined by the CSS. And if you want to check this out, if you want to experiment this one, you can go to this inspect element, and you will see here. Now let me just finish up this one. And if I go to, for instance, hello, and if I click on this one, you'll see how much padding it has taken up. Let me just show this. So now we are on this hello class, and let me just move this here. So now we are in hello class, right? I have selected this h1. Now if I go to, for instance, computed, and as you can see here, that it has already taken up its width, and it has its own height. Okay.
Mm.
So what if I make it 0, for instance? Now the height is also 0. And also, let's, okay. So it has its 0. But the question is that now the height and width of this h1 is 0. But still the space is there. Isn't this so too fancy for you? I mean, what can be the cause that still it has the space left? What do you think?
Maybe because of the mark or the padding.
The column 2 has also its own padding and margin, by the way. And let me show
Mm.
you. If we go to this column 2, as you can see, it has its own width, it has its own flex. So if we go to this column class that is defining it by, for instance, and if I go to this div as well, and if I try to, for instance, I say to, padding to be 0, see, the padding's gone. And how much space is left? Now this space is well beneath it. So what if I say margin 0? What would happen? Well, all of the space is being taken. See,
Mm.
now this is the thing that any div we define, any column or any row we define has its own space, has its own padding. Somehow it has its own, like, 1 to 2 pixels of space and padding. So we have this area left to analyze these. Now, we were talking about the column. Any other questions, my brother?
No, it's okay. It's all fine.
Okay, okay, that's good. Okay, so continue to here. Now the next thing that we are now, let me just refresh this one. Okay, so we are now left with the other 6 columns. But the matter of fact is that this is this the standard way of defining the columns? What it would be in the responsiveness? So let's, if we took it this one, it is working onto the mobile side as well. But this is not the very recommended way to deal in the mobiles as well. So in the other screens as well for the responsiveness. So what is the recommended way? Well, let me tell you this. Bootstrap has defined column classes like 4, 6, and 7, 8, so that we can cover all of the columns in our way that we want, right? But they have also specified the other column classes in which they have defined their own media queries. Now let me tell you this. What I want, let me just remove this one so that I will specify what I need to say. So for instance, what I want in the div, I want that in the row div, I want that my column, that my row that is defined here, let me open just the pad, that in my row, that in this row, I want that if it is the mobile, it is, if the, if the, for instance, if the column is like, extra small, if the screen is extra small, so I want it to be full width, okay? And if the screen is like, like a middle screen, so I want it to be on the halfway. I wanted to cover the 6 columns, okay? And if the screen is like, like if the screen is extra small, for instance, it could be a mobile. And if the screen is small, like a medium small, for instance, it could be a tablet as well. So I wanted to cover, for instance, mm, I wanted to cover the whole as well, for the small and for the extra small. So in Bootstrap, they have defined classes for these. And let me tell you, they have done so. What now? Let me show this. As you can see, COLMD. MD means medium devices. SM here, it means small devices. And there's also XS, X and S, which means extra small. And for BG, it means big devices. So as you can see, the columns and the numbers are the same, but in between the column and the number, we define other classes like extra small, extra medium, and these are all defined here. And they are not, in this page, you will not see them in order, but you will find it. For instance, look at this, COLSM3. So it means that if the device is small enough, so I want you to cover the 3 columns, okay? And let me show you the magic of this. Let me show you. Now we are in the row, right? So I say, I write this row and I say in the class, and let me, in the div, I say, for instance, online marketplace, for instance, and I give this the background of, for instance, primary. Now, after that, I say COL, column. If the device is extra small, like it's like very extra small, then I want you to cover the full row, okay? And if the device is like small, like not extra small, but it is small, I want you to cover the full row as well. But if the device, for instance, is a medium sized device, then I want you to cover it, for instance, 8 pixels or 8 columns. out of the 12 rows. So what will happen? Let's see now. So my screen here now is like comes in the empty category. Now if I try to refresh this one, you see it's working. And let me just you know, let's make it H4 so that we can clearly see online marketplace. Okay. Yeah. Okay, brother. So I guess we have the same problem like before. The meeting's going to end because I haven't. It's not the upgraded version. So I'm sending you the link again so that you can join and then we can conclude the meeting. Okay.
Okay.
Please. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, so what I was saying that my device falls in the medium category, and let me explain the code again. What this code means. Now here, what I'm saying to the browser that look, if the device that is medium, if the device falls in the medium range, or if the device is greater than this medium range. You see, this is the last one. If the device it falls in the medium range, if the device is greater, that is fall in the medium range. So I want you to apply to cover the 8 columns out of those 12 columns. So what it has done, it has covered the 8 columns. But what if the device is small, falls in the small category, or it's in like extra small category? And let me show you. If I try to go inspect the element, and as you can see, it has covered the full width. And let me show you one more thing. If I try to go here, and as we can see, if I click on this div where I have applied the class column extra small, so what kind of class it has applied, and it will show that it has applied, for instance, yeah, this is the extra small, as you can see, right? And here, for instance, if I try to, for instance, let's suppose, if I try for the iPhone 6, it's going to be, it has covered the whole column. But what if I change the dimension? For instance, if I select any tablet, now what is the tablet? Okay, so which one here is the tablet? For instance, it may be iPad. Yeah. So see, this iPad falls in the medium category. So it has covered the 8 columns out of the 12 columns. And if I click on any of this notebook, so see how it is doing the work. It's doing the it has it has already defined the media queries for us, because the mobile phones falls in the extra small or small categories. The tablets may or may not fall in the small categories. They may also fall in the small categories, and they also may not fall in the small categories. They may be medium, and sometimes it could be like more than extra medium, like more than medium. So this is how we do. And let me explain this again, because this is the new concept. And if you're not familiar with this one, let me repeat this again, because this is very important. Now, let me just, okay, it can only zoom, I forgot. So what I said in this class that I've defined, I said here COL-XS-12, which means that which the media queries, that means that if the device falls in the extra small category, it can be a mobile phone, and it can be any kind of other device, then I want you to cover the whole width. I want you to cover the whole 12 columns. And as I've said earlier, that the row that we define, any bootstrap row that we define consists of 12 columns, right? Here, it consists of 12 columns. So every bootstrap row consists of 12 columns. And here I said that if it falls in the extra, means excess means extra small category, I want you to cover that under 12 columns. And if the device falls in the small category, I mean it's not extra small, but it is small, right? So any mobile phone can also be of a small category. I mean it is not extra small, but it is small. Like for instance, if we have seen if someone of you are the iPhone users, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So anyone have you seen the iPhone 4? Because iPhone 4, I guess, have rather very small screen, right? It was
yeah,
very small.
very small.
Yeah. So in which category the iPhone 4 falls?
The
Extra,
extra small,
exactly, extra small. And now the latest iPhone, what the model, the latest iPhone is, if I'm not wrong?
13,
Thir-
13
13, right?
max.
So it is small, but it is not extra small, right? It has a, like, a decent big screen in terms of the
Yeah,
mobile phone, but it is small in terms of if we talk about the web development. So it will fall in the small category. Now, some tablets, if we talk about, there are tablets that cannot be extra small. I mean, they cannot never be fall under extra small category, but they can be small and they can be medium size. Okay, uh, like for instance, any laptop can also fall in the small categories because they are like very small laptops, and there are like very big laptops as well. So these are the classes that are defined by the Bootstrap. So in this class, what I'm saying, that any device that falls in the small category, I want you to cover it with 12 columns. And the next class, what I've defined, I say that, okay, so let me tell you, if any device does not fall in the excess, this class will be ignored, and this class will also be ignored, and this will be rendered. Okay. But for instance, if any class, if any device falls in the medium category, and any device, let me tell you this. Now, this is the very important one. You must listen very carefully. If any device that falls in the medium in the medium size, for instance, any tablet can also be in the medium size, any laptop can also be in a medium size if it is a hybrid one, or if any device that doesn't fall in the medium category, it's like a desktop, or it's like a big laptop or a workstation, then this class will be rendered. So I've defined this one. So what it means that, okay, if any class that falls in the medium category or is greater than the medium category, I want you to apply the 8 columns out of the 12 one. Or what if I define for the bigger screens? Then what will happen? Now, if I want to search for the big screen, what I should do, I will go to the columns, and I would say, for instance, column, like columns, standalone column classes, column sizing. I want to look at this one, and let me just show you the columns classes. Okay, I want to look at the columns again. Okay, so there we go, and let me this one, COL. It's the grid one, maybe. Yeah, yeah. See, this is the thing. Extra small for the XS, small for the SM, medium MD, and for the large one, and also they have like extra large and like double XL. I mean, how much bigger can you get? Okay, it's not going to be the cinema screen, so it is the double XL. And they have defined there also that how much they are covering in the double XL, how much they're covering in the XL. For instance, I have this screen that falls in the large one. So I can define for that. I wanted, if any screen that is like large enough. Okay, so I would say COL LG dash what, for instance, I say, if the screen is large, I want you to cover 6 columns out of the 12. So let's now test this one. Now I know my screen is not large, but let's see. If I refresh this one, oh my god, my screen is large. However, if I go to this one, and if I try to, for instance, select other screens. Like, for instance, if this is this is for the mobile one, for the laptop, like, for the laptop, it's like the large laptop. And if it is like extra large, then you see it is covering the half of them. But what if like the laptop is small enough, like too small? So as you can see, that's the tablet that's fall in the medium category, and it's now covering the 8 ones. Okay. And let me repeat this again. And if you have any questions, stop me there. I will answer them, because this concept can get sometimes very confusing, because it's the first time that I hope you guys may be seeing this for the first time. So let me tell you this again. Now, you have already known about this one. So now, when we haven't defined this class for the large devices, what I said column dash MD dash 8, and it meant at that time that, hey, if you have any device that falls in the medium category, or any device that is greater than the medium category, I want you to cover the 8 columns. But now it says, okay, any device that falls in the medium category, 8 columns will be covered. But now if any device falls for the large category, okay, and before, if I haven't defined that one, for instance, if I define this one and I haven't refreshed this one now, okay, so now this screen falls under the large category, right? If I refresh this one, look what it is now. It is covering the 8 columns. Okay, so at this time, it means that any device that is greater than the medium range, or it falls under the medium, cover the 8 columns. But after that, I applied for the large columns. I said, okay, for the large screens, here we go. So if any screen fall under the large category, I want you to cover only 6 columns. Okay, so it had that previous script running. Now, if I refresh this one, as you can see, for the large screen, it had covered only 6 columns. And for the medium screens, it is covering 8 ones. See how this media queries that are already being defined for us by the Bootstrap is helping us. Okay. So anybody has any problem, please ask the questions, because it is a very important concept when you apply the Bootstrap classes. Please do let me know.
No, it's all clear. You described it very well.
Okay. So everybody's clear. Shall I move forward?
Yes, brother. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. So how much time do we have left? Hello?
I'm not sure.
Sorry, brother. What did you say?
I'm saying, how much time do we have left? How much time?
The class actually has started just now.
Okay. Okay. So shall I conclude the session here, or do we have some
Yes,
more
yes.
time? Okay.
If
Okay.
it's like 5 minutes, then it's okay, brother.
Okay. So we have like 10 to 15 minutes, right?
Yeah, the class has started, but we can stay with you for
Okay.
a short time. I mean,
Okay, no problem, no problem. Let me just conclude the session quickly.
brother.
Okay. So today what we have done is that we have learned about the columns and rows of the Bootstrap and how shall we apply to it. And there are like lots of Bootstrap utilities for the colors, like we have applied for the text primary and for the row. So we have learned today that the row consists of how many columns? Can anyone tell me, please?
12 columns.
That's right. So the row consists of the 12 columns. And how can we cover the 12 columns with the help of the simple column for like the column classes? We can give like col-4 to, it would cover that one. But a more better approach is that we define for each device so that it will be responsively stable, like we have done for the XS, SM, and MD. And if we go to the Bootstrap and go to the layouts, for instance, in this layout, and if we click the grid and see here, so it is all defined for us that if we want to apply for the extra small, if any device fall under small, so we can define the media queries, or we can define the classes for all of those devices if we want to, and it will cover them automatically. So we have learned the Bootstrap from the designing point of view, and tomorrow what we are going to do here is that we'll apply the boxes, the product box, this that we want to show the most recent products that are being bought in the form of this card, and then when anybody clicks this button, and it can go to the product page to view more details. So tomorrow in the next session we'll apply this functionality to the products. Okay, so tomorrow we'll show them, and then we'll analyze how these beautiful grids of the Bootstrap work. So if anyone has any question regarding today's lecture, I'll be love to answer them.
It's all clear. Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much. Okay, so let's end the meeting here, and inshallah tomorrow we'll start another, and